Welcome back to Limb Driven TV. Today we're doing a requested video. I think I've had minimum 40 comments. I've deleted a few because some of them didn't make sense, but what viewers were trying to get to is to test grain per pound, talk about grain per pound, and to see if there is a point of diminishing returns with a lighter-ish bow, a draw weight that most guys shoot, because you guys know I shoot 65 pounds. It's a little bit out there and I shoot heavy arrows, so some people think that because I shoot, hey, it happens, you're good. We're at a shop, things happen, people are in the shop, it's all good. But people think that because I shoot 65 pounds, that's why I can shoot heavier arrows and it won't be an issue. But the truth is, as arrow weight goes up, momentum goes up. Kinetic energy actually does increase. We took the data, we did the testing. We're going to show you guys all the data that we have today based on a 50-pound trad bow. Well, it's 49 at 28, it's 64 inches, a New Woods longbow. It's a pretty dang good bow. Yes, it's right-handed. It's the cameraman's, it's Garen's, because that's how we got a lighter bow. And he shot this, we drew this bow 3 times. We were able to see what the weight is. We shot each of these arrow weights 3 times. We averaged it out and we calculated the momentum and we calculated the grains per pound to give you guys a reference. And we're going to see that as arrow weight goes up, so does momentum and kinetic energy. So just to make sure that everything on the bow was the same for all this, it's not that the test was necessarily truly scientific, but we tried our best. We tried to limit variables as much as we could. So we made sure the brace height was at 8 inches before any of the arrows were shot, and the string has been shot plenty of times, it's not going to stretch. We just want to make sure, yes, the brace height's at 8 inches. The other thing that we did with the arrows, some of these have, like this one, has a little bit thicker fletchings. It's to make sure that it's for covering. No, I'm not going to have 7 different arrow builds laying around that it's going to tune just perfect. But we did our best. We found stuff that would be plausible for an individual to shoot. So with all the data that we did, we shot all these arrows 3 times, did an average of what the arrow speed was, and then from those averages we were able to take the arrow weight, which is an exact measure because we use the grain scale, and we were able to calculate what the momentum was. So what we found, you saw some of the B-roll, we literally took the time to shoot these arrows through here. Just left the camera running to show you guys. We're not trying to fake anything, we're just trying to tell the truth and show you guys real raw data. And we did a whole bunch of calculating. We used our phones and the calculators and the right stuff to measure the draw weight. 560 was shot at, on average, 172 feet per second, which ended up being a momentum value of 0.43. The 615 grain arrow was shot at an average of 163 feet per second, which showed a momentum of 0.44. So they're pretty close right there. The 715 was shot on average at 152 feet per second with a momentum value of 0.48. And the 875 grain arrow, the big momentum TDT with the 425 grains up front, just a beast, shot on average at 140 feet per second and had a momentum value of 0.54. So the next thing that I always have guys tell me is, okay, but that's really cool, but I want to know the grains per pound, because for some reason, I'm sorry if you believe this, it's like this thing, you either shoot 8 grains per pound or you shoot 10 grains per pound. Guess what? There's no written rule. Guess what I do? Neither. And I kill animals just fine. And people kill animals with less than 10 grains per pound just fine. Do whatever you want. I could care less. But you're doing a disservice to everyone else when you speak on something that you don't know, which is this data. If you're not able to look at this data and interpret it correctly, then you're doing a disservice to other people. So let's talk about the grains per pound and what it means with this data. We started at 10.5 grains per pound. 560 grain arrow, 53 pound bow, 10.5 grains per pound. This tends to be the high end of what people are comfortable with an arrow weight. We found 0.43. So the thought is, now if I go heavier, there's a point of diminishing returns where all of a sudden the energy out of the bow isn't being transferred and it's completely wrong. Why is it completely wrong? Let's talk about the why. when I have this bow and I put the arrow on there and it's at full draw, so imagine that I'm just like Ultra Hulk right now and I have this thing at full draw. And I have a light arrow and I release. The second I release, as that string accelerates forward, the lighter the arrow and the lighter the arrow is, as the string accelerates forward, the nock is going to leave the string. It's a high speed, so it leaves the string fast. Now the heavier the arrow is, as I draw this back and I release, the more time that nock spends on the string. And the easiest way to explain it is the sponge effect. It's on the string longer, so it's soaking up more energy, and that's why you get that increase in momentum. And we call it increased bow efficiency. The bows get more quiet because there's less wasted energy in noise and vibration. More energy goes into the arrow as it leaves the string. What's this mean for a shooter? Well, if you're going to shoot a little bit heavier arrow, you need to have a little better form. Because if you're going to torque and twist and flick as you release, you're going to see it, especially if you're someone that bare shaft tunes. So it's not that guys that are using heavier arrows are, they believe they're handicapped and aren't capable, so they want to use this setup. It's a lethality thing. It really has nothing to do with this is easier for me, it's easier to shoot because I'm a beginner. It has everything to do with being more lethal. So that's where that 10 and more grains per pound is completely false. Because we were able to go all the way up to 16.5 grains per pound, and the momentum went up to 0.54. This is just data. This is just showing you something that people believe, and it is false. I'm not telling you to take your state's minimum draw weight and use an 875 grain arrow. Have fun shooting at 5 yards. That's not what I'm telling you. What I always tell guys in the podcasts I've been guests on, any of the guys I help at archery pro shops with anything traditional is shoot the heaviest arrow that has the highest FOC, that has their trajectory that you are most comfortable with. And what I'm most comfortable with might not be what you are most comfortable with. Comfort is everything in archery. If you're not comfortable, there's no sense in doing it. But you have to toe that line between being comfortable but being lethal, and then being lethal at a reasonable range. Take it for what it's worth. We tried our best to have good, reliable data to show you guys. We did averages. It's not like we shot things just once. We tried our best. It's not the most scientific you can make things, but hey, we put ourselves out there and we tried. And the 10 grains per pound rule, going over that, there's no point of diminishing returns. That's just the facts. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put it in the comments. Like, subscribe, send emails. Friend me on Facebook if you know all that information, if you're on there. We'd love to talk, we'd love to give advice, and love to hear your opinion as well. So feel free to leave that below. Thank you guys for watching.